Welcome back YouTube, it is Xtrfy, and today we're going to take a look at something new from Xtrfy. Last year they released the M4, which was a really nice ergo mouse, and it hit on a lot of points, but on a few things we did recognize that it needed some improvement. So let's see if they recognize that with their latest release of the M42. Let's go. The Xtrfy M42 is a small ambi or symmetrical mouse that is wired. There is no wireless option currently available. You can pick it up through Xtrfy's direct website or through Amazon US currently. It does run you $59.99 up to $69.99 depending on the colorway that you do choose. There are 5 options available. I went with the black at $59. Inside of the box itself, you're going to have the mouse. You have 2 shells, additional feet, you have a sticker, a guide, and then 2 ABS keycaps. 118 millimeters long, as well as 56 millimeters at the grip and 38 millimeters at the height. This 60-gram mouse is tied to an easy cord, which is a very paracord-like cable out of the box. It does have your 3389 sensor, as well as Omron 20 million click switches, all tied together with PTFE feet that are rated at 100%. The most important thing though is going to be the 2 shells included that allow you to adjust the shape of the M42. Going with either version will still maintain that 38 millimeter height. However, you do have differences at the back end. One that's going to offer more of a hump and the other one that's going to offer more of a smoother runoff, similar to something say like the Razer Viper Mini. Using the M42, I felt really comfortable going with either shell option. Just keep in mind with the lower sloped one, it's going to be more of a fingertip grip. And then if you transition into the more aggressive rear end, that's going to be for your claw or relaxed claw. Either way though, I felt both of them to be really comfortable. What you see here is the M42 right next to some similar competitors. It is going to be a safe transition if you go from one of these mice to the new M42. As you can see in a comparison here against the Cooler Master mouse, it does have a lot of similarities there at the rear end. And then if you go ahead and put on the softer slope shell, you're going to see where if you're coming from the Viper Mini, this might be a perfect mouse for you then. The M42 is a very solid mouse. We're looking at full ABS plastic here that does have a UV coating. So that ABS plastic that we're used to seeing that kind of shines and wears down quickly over time, that's going to be delayed with that coating on here, which is really nice. The actual inside as well is coated with a conformal coating. So you're going to have a little bit of your dust and water resistance on the PCB. But of course, with any electronic, avoid just testing that water at all costs. And then with the actual shape and having that shell on here, it is connected with 6 points of contact with a magnet at the bottom. It is a very sturdy design. I don't notice any creaking at all. You have to really crank down on the sides for that shell to pop out a little bit. So it's nothing in real world use that you're going to have to worry about. The same issue that I had with the M4, I have again with the M42. The easy cord is just not a good cord. I'll still take it over any rubber cable or like heavily braided cable. However, this is just something that you're going to need either a mouse bungee or wait until there's a third-party option available. I did hear from Paracord Mouse and Lethal Gaming that it does use the same stress relief, and that's one thing I will say is nice about this out of the box, is that the stress release itself is angled upward, so it does help create less drag, but you're going to want to change this, I assure you, or at least invest in a good mouse bungee. And in comparison to the king of out-of-the-box paracords or cables, it's going to be the XM1, where you can see where there is no impact on the mouse's movement when you're moving it. And I really wish we could see more cables like this from manufacturers. I don't really understand what is honestly so difficult about that. The triggers on the M42 do have a little bit of some pre-travel, but once it is fully engaged on those Omron 20s, there's very little post-travel on my copy. I definitely do like it. On the side here, you do have very flat, pronounced side buttons. I will say that it is nice to see that gap between both of them, so that way it is a good identifier on where your thumb is. But the dimensions from the bottom of the side buttons to the bottom of the mouse, it is very narrow, so keep that in mind. If you have a wider thumb, it might rub against the surface because this is a flatter mouse. But let's go ahead and give you a sound test of everything on here. If you've ever caught one of my previous mouse reviews, I do love a good scroll wheel, and that's what we have here with the M42. It is a silent scroll, but it does have very nice, pronounced tactile steps, and it is really comfortable with an RGB strip going down the center with two rubber strips on the outside. The M42 does not use any software, which is always a pro. However, sometimes you can run into some cons as it can be bound by the limitations of the hardware itself. Underneath, you're going to have your DPI or CPI changer with variable different options. Hopefully that'll suit your needs. You do have a pulling rate adjuster at the bottom, and where your DPI button normally would be is your RGB changer. So you're going to go ahead and click this to change the color of your preference. You can change the brightness. And then, of course, if you want to flat out change the style or the speed, you're more than welcome to do so as well. The included PTFE feet on the M42, they are serviceable, they are good. I would say they're not great. I'm not sure if it's the size or all the cornering on it. I will say I will invest in some core pads or hyperglides when those are available for this mouse, but they're not scratchy and they're not really audible or loud. So I will say that out of the box, these are good feet, but there are going to be better options down the line that I would suggest investing in. All in all, the M42 is a fantastic mouse. At $59 for the black one, you're looking at almost purchasing two different mice here. All of the qualities that make it great overshadow the minor things that are kind of an annoyance. And those things can be adjusted, like the feet or the actual cord itself. And what's really cool is Xtrfy actually allows you to change even more with this mouse with downloading their 3D printer files off of their website. And that'll allow you to really expand more. So I fully expect to see this mouse within the mouse review subreddit with some pretty wild and outlandish styles, which I'm looking forward to. But other than that, I really do recommend this mouse. I think it's fantastic. And if you just stay till the end, I do appreciate all the time you spent with me. And throw a like if you like the content. And of course, subscribe if you can. It definitely helps me understand more of what content you guys want. Until next time, I'm Xtrfy, and you guys stay safe.